Hello, everyone. My name is Kaike, and I'm a fourth-year PhD in computer science at Virginia Tech. My research is in HCI, focusing on AI and society. I'm part of the Society Plus AI and Language Lab, or SAIL Lab, under the guidance of Professor Eugenia Rowe, where we design AI systems to tackle complex social challenges. The work I'm presenting today is a great example of this. I will be sharing our research on online counterspeech. The topic is understanding online counterspeech, identity, motivations, and barriers in responding to hate. Online hate speech is a pervasive problem on social media. Counterspeech, which means directly responding to hateful content, is a key user-driven strategy to combat it. However, we know very little about the people who write counterspeech, so our research focuses on two main questions. First, what motivations or creates barriers for people to write it? And second, how does a person's identity shape their experience of perceiving and responding to hate? To answer these questions, we conduct a large-scale survey with 458 English-speaking US adults. We showed each participant three real-world examples of hate speech, covering five topics: race, gender, religion, sexual orientation, and disability. Their task was to write a counter-speech for each post. We then measure their motivations, barriers, their satisfaction with their response, its perceived effectiveness, and the difficulty they experienced. One of our most significant findings is that being a previous target of online hate is the strongest predictor of engaging in counterspeech. However, the motivations and barriers for these two groups are dramatically different. If you have been a target, your main motivation is to directly comfort the perpetrator and to vent emotions. Your primary barrier is the feeling that your response will be ineffective. But if you have not been a target, your motivation is more about signaling inclusion and support for others. And your main barrier is a lack of confidence or skill in how to write a strong response. We introduce a concept called topical identity match, or TIM. This happens when the hate speech topic aligns with the writer's identity. For example, a woman countering a sexist post. We found that this match generally makes writing counter-speech easier and feel more effective. It significantly increases the perceived hatefulness of the post, and the writers are typically more satisfied and confident in their response. But there is a crucial exception here, the gender exception. When women countered hate speech about women themselves, they actually found it more difficult to write and perceived their response as less effective. So, from the writer's perspective, what makes a good counter-speech? Our research found that the counter-speech authors themselves rated as more satisfying and effective were typically longer, more positive in tone, and empathetic. But this brings us to the empathy challenge. While empathy was seen as the most effective strategy, it was also rated by participants as the most difficult one to execute. So to summarize our findings, first, counter-speech is not one size fits all. A person's identity and past experience are fundamental to why and how they respond to online hate. Second, there is a clear tension. The most effective strategy, like empathy, are also the hardest to write. And third, This creates an opportunity for artificial intelligence. In our study, we also found users who feel they lack the skill or who fear retaliation are more willing to use AI writing assistants. These tools can help bridge the gap by helping users craft the difficult, empathetic responses needed to effectively challenge hate online. The work I will present today is published in SM Tokai and CSCW. Building on these findings, we conducted a follow-up study, which is now under review. First, instead of just looking at the writer's perspective, this new work measures what's pervasive to hate-aligned individuals, the actual target audience, like the hate speech posters. Second, using speech acts theory, this work identified specific rhetorical strategies. We found that acknowledging the speaker and requesting perspective taking were effective, while sarcasms and personal accusations were not. Third, this study showed that AI can predict counter-speech effectiveness with over 85% accuracy, which is a crucial step for scaling up moderation efforts. Finally, the new work explains why voices from target communities are more persuasive, showing how they uniquely use personal testimony and lived experience to build their arguments. That is all my presentations. Thank you for your attention very much.